I know you guys are very curious about dates, okay? And I want us to have a really good, interesting conversation about dates and come to an understanding as it relates to dates, okay? So tell me, what are the things you are struggling with um, at the most as it relates to dates, right? I want to hear from everyone. What are the number one things you're struggling with as it relates to dates? What do you dislike? What are you not liking when you go on these dates? Uh, what problems or issues are you finding yourself coming across on your dates? I want all of us to share. Oh, by the way, we didn't even get a chance to take roll call. Okay, we'll take it. We'll take roll call after. This is like the preliminary first question. So, someone says I like your shirt. Thank you. Thank you. Uh don't know what to talk about. Okay, we'll talk about this. You need to be tipsy, Apple user says. So Emily says I struggle with eye contact. I regret even coming because it's so awkward, but I like him so much. Okay. Okay. Um Bliss says, how can I DM you? If you want to DM me, you just go to my Instagram. It's right there at the bottom. You know what I mean? And this busyness that I have going on. Don't worry, guys. I'll fix it for the next stream. By the way, for those of you wondering what this is popping up, these are my YouTube people. These are people from YouTube in the chat. So that's Enlightened J here. You can see. Okay, I want to make sure we get a multi-chat experience here. So in case you're wondering, anyone that comments in the pink here on TikTok and you're wondering where that's coming from, it's the YouTube chat, because I'm also live streaming on YouTube simultaneously. So hello Enlightened J and hello SH. They love to watch on YouTube. Okay, so you can watch either places. Conversation don't want to overshare. Does he even want to be there? Mexi says. Okay. Okay, so I want to touch on something interesting that you guys said, and I love these answers. By the way, I'm glad that you guys are participating right away. For those of you who are new here, I don't know how many of you guys are new, but we do our live chats differently. Think of this like, I know you guys always commented on my videos, but you should start a podcast. You should do a podcast. You should do a podcast. The very interesting thing about doing a podcast is that requires you to go to the platform and watch that podcast. So, and that's great and all, but it's a lot harder to move people from platform to platform. And I know that you can do it, but I like to make it easy for you guys. So this is like a live podcast. You see how this works? And I feel like this is a much better way to do it, because I like interacting with you guys and I like talking to you guys. So this is more comfortable for me anyways, okay? So you guys are talking about dates, and one of the interesting things you guys said, right, when you guys were answering me when it comes to dates, and like I said, I'll introduce how we get things done here a little bit later, but I just want to get through this first question. You guys talked about not knowing what to say. Someone said it. I forget who it was that said it. How many of you, tell me in the chat, struggle with not knowing what to say or what to talk about on a date? Because I think that's a very interesting topic that we can address. Let me know in the chat. Do you struggle with not knowing what to say? Did you see that? Oh my god, I'm Spider-Man. I caught that off the ledge. Y'all might not have seen that on TikTok because it's not in the frame, but I caught that off the ledge. The people on YouTube seen that. Shout out to the YouTube people. Okay, so someone said it's very awkward. Santi said me. Hart said I struggle with presentation. Jesse said I don't. Oh, okay. Sarah said no. Okay, so some of you guys don't struggle with it. Maria said, okay, Spider-Man. I really am Spider-Man. I be catching stuff and reacting to stuff in a moment's notice all the time. It's very strange. I don't even know how it's possible, but I be doing that all the time. Nefensimi says if he's hot, yes. Okay, interesting. So his hotness plays a role in if you're nervous or not. I don't know what to talk about. Okay, I want to teach you how to know how to date regardless of his hotness, or regardless of your hotness or lack of hotness, or regardless of his lack of hotness, regardless of how interesting or non-interesting he is, or how much of a yapper he is or not. I'm a yapper, as you guys can tell. I love to yap. I'm literally sitting on my couch yapping. Shelly, thank you for the roses. I'm literally sitting on my couch yapping. There's nobody else in this room, so I clearly love to yap. Okay. Ironically, though, on dates, I don't talk at all. Noonie, thank you for the rose. Wow, thank you for 28 roses, Shelly. Appreciate that. But ironically, on dates, I don't talk at all. I don't. Shh, my mouth is shut. My mouth is shut. My mouth is shut. Okay? As much as I love yapping, right? And as much as I love talking and saying things and talking a lot, which is great. I love sharing information. Clearly, I do it with you guys. In my real life, like if you were to ever meet me in real life, unknown, thank you for the hand hearts. If you were to ever meet me in real life, you would realize very quickly that I don't talk very much, if at all. Like I really don't talk. And you'd realize that very, very fast. Okay? And the reason for that is nobody, and I mean nobody, when I say nobody, has ever, right? Well, nobody has ever, will ever feel close to you by listening to you talk about yourself. I know this is a shocker, and I know it doesn't feel like it makes sense, but it's the reality. Nobody's going to feel closer to you in life, right? For the most part, by sitting and listening to you talk about yourself. Strawberry says men never talk. Do you guys feel like that? Or is that just Strawberry? Do you guys feel like men never talk? Right? They just sit there like a blank slate. Why is it spilling all over the place? This is ridiculous. Do you guys feel like that? Like men never talk? They just sit there like a blank canvas with nothing to say? Strawberry says, I feel like that. Sandy says, yes. Sarah says, no, they do talk. Okay. I think it's their intuitive. Is that what you're trying to say, Strawberry? Heart says, depends on the man. Thank you for the rose, Sandy, by the way. AJ says they never express. Okay. So I see that a lot of you guys are feeling like men don't really share. Here's the thing, though, and this is what's going to be the shocker. Men do share. Shocker, right? Men do share. But you have to get them sharing, right? It is your job to get them sharing. And I know you'd be like, oh, wow, why is it my responsibility to get him to talk? He should be the one to come ready to talk on the date. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great. Okay. But the reality of it is, as human beings, if we don't feel comfortable sharing, we won't share. Just because he doesn't share with you, do you think that means he never shares anything with anyone? No. It's definitely possible to get him. I want you to start approaching all your dates, okay, with the understanding that it is always possible to get someone talking. You just have to figure out how to do it. It's in there somewhere. AJ, thank you for the applause. It's in there somewhere. Thank you for the whipped coffee. And thank you for the ginger man. It's in there somewhere, okay? So I want you to understand that it does exist, and it is possible to get a guy talking. Right? Anyone, you can get anyone talking. Right? You just have to know how to do it. Tell me in the chat, because this is a class and we participate. I didn't even take roll call. We're starting off class all discombobulated, so I don't even know if students are here. By the way, since we didn't take roll call, I'm going to let you guys know what goes on here. Okay? We all participate in the chat. The reason I take roll call at the beginning is because I want everyone that's in the chat to be very aware. We will not sit passively and not communicate in the chat and participate with me. I learned from you as well. This is like a conversation. I just can't hear your voice, but I can read your message, which is damn near very close. Okay? So I want you to be participating because this is a conversation. It's like a podcast with 100 people. Literally. Okay? But it doesn't work if you don't participate. So when I say you, I'm look in my eyes. Look in my eyes. Look in my eyes. I'm talking to you. Okay? You must pick up your phone and participate. When he texts you, you text him back in a second, don't you? Right? When he texts you what you're doing, you message him right away. Pick up your phone, have your keyboard out, and be ready to type in the chat when I ask questions or make comments because I'm reading every message. Okay? Don't just sit back and be passive. All right? Now, I want to ask you guys on dates, what do you think are, well, I want to, for you personally, Shelly, thank you for the galaxy. You personally, tell me, what are your go-to topics that, or things you talk about, share, or ask about on a date? What are your usual go-tos? If you're on a date, say you're on a date with me, right? We go out to an Italian restaurant. We're sipping, I get pizza, you get pasta. You're slurping your noodles, okay? You're slurping your noodles and meatballs. I'm eating a pizza. Got a little dip on the side. What are you going to bring up or talk about regularly to just get the conversation flowing? Hart says, I'm a yapper. So we talk about everything. What is everything, though? Tell me some of the things like you would bring up, some of the topics. Bliss says, Shiz says, hobbies, favorite music, career. Kayla says, theories about female trees. That's okay. Lily says hobbies. Meow says work and business. Sarah says career plans, what they like to do in their free time. Okay. These are good. Right? They're a bit generic, but they're good. Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you a question that's probably not going to make sense when I first ask it, because you might not really understand what it is I'm even asking you. But in these questions that you guys just stated, what is it you're trying to extract from the question? I know this is a tough concept to understand, but I'm going to ask you anyways. What is it that you're trying to extract from the question? Let me know. Or from the conversation, whatever it may be. What are you trying to extract from this conversation overall? Right? Lily says to get to know him, or Elle says to get to know him, the way they think and thought process, what their lifestyle is like. Mexi says it's just more talking. Okay. Someone says how he thinks, his lifestyle. Strawberry says to know his insecurities. Ooh, okay, I like that. SH says to get to know him. Okay. Now, the reason I asked that question, to see if we have common interests, thought process, the reason I asked that question is because it's so important on dates to know what you're trying to extract. Okay? And I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but a date is not about fun. I'm going to say it again. A date is not about fun. One more time. A date is not about fun. You're not going on the date to have a good time and to build memories and to build... You can have fun with your girlfriends. You can have fun at home watching Love is Blind, watching people make an idiot out of themselves. Don't spoil it in the chat. I'm watching it right now. Okay? You can have fun going to the movies with your girlfriends. You can have fun doing anything, okay? It doesn't require a man or going on a date. The reason I say that is because you The dates is not time for you to be thinking about how much fun you're going to have. That's when you start living in la la land, living in dreamland, where you're thinking, oh my God, we're going to build such a beautiful life together and have such a beautiful family. And he's such an amazing guy. And I enjoy so much time with. All that stuff gets you played. I'm not saying don't have emotions, but I thank you for the rose. I'm not saying don't have emotions, but I want you to understand, like, especially at the beginning of a relationship, all these dates, all this hanging out, this spending time, you need to get on it. Get on it. You need to be on top of what it is you're trying to extract from these conversations and these dates. And I actually kind of slipped in the key there is you're trying to extract from something from the conversations. The dates are just a setting for wherever the conversation is going to take place. This is why you shouldn't get distracted by where the date takes place, because it's not about the date. It's not about the setting. It's about the conversation, because through the conversation, you can extract his past experiences and truths about himself and his character that will clue you into if this guy is a serious guy or an unserious guy. Deanne, thank you for the 11 roses. I appreciate that. Okay? Right? And someone said, when is your next live? I'm going to try and go live every day of the during the week, Monday to Friday. So I'll probably be live tomorrow, but all my lives, for those of you who don't know, all my lives, the full live will be available on YouTube as soon as I end the live. So if you ever miss a live or you miss part of the live, Taylor, thank you for the rose. You miss part of the live, you just have to go on YouTube. That's why I keep my YouTube down there. And you can go on there and you click the live part of my videos and you can see the entire live that I did. Same topic, same everything, same setup, right there in its full glory. Okay, so if you ever miss a live or you missed a couple, it'll be right there. Thank you for the perfume, by the way. Okay, so when we go on these dates, it's very important to understand we're not going there to have fun. And to understand that the date is just supplementing the setting. How many of you, tell me in the chat, I told you we all participate. Every single person must participate. There's over 100 people in the chat. I want to see everybody's answer. How many of you think that an expensive date means that he cares about you or is more invested in you? Tell me in the chat. Be honest with me. Don't tell me what you think I want to hear. Do you think a more expensive date means he cares more about you? Do you think there's a correlation between expensive date means he cares more? Inexpensive date means he cares less. Wow, okay, we're split down the middle here. I wish I could take a poll. I see a lot of people saying no, but I also see a lot of people saying yes. AJ says no, it's a trap. Joke says yes. Okay. Strawberry says kinda. SH says yes and no. Okay. Armenia says it's not. I'm not sure about that. Someone says he could be broke. Yeah, he cares to impress. I see you guys are super split on this. Enlightened on YouTube says I used to think that honestly. It really depends. Shelly says this is good. I'm glad that there's a split because I want to let you in on a little secret as a man. This is going to come as a shocker to you, okay? An expensive date does not correlate with caring more about you as a woman. An expensive date is really only a function of how much disposable income a man has. And I'm telling you this as a man. Obviously, the way I think or the way I go about life will not necessarily apply to every man that has ever existed. But, you know, I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of guy friends. And so I understand how we all think because most of us think alike. So I just want you to be aware of an expensive date is not necessarily correlated to a man caring more. It is actually a correlation of how much disposable income he has. Now, for your pennies get into a bunch and you get all discombobulated, I want to start by saying it's very important to understand that If a man is going out of his way to spend more money on you, doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. And it could also be a good thing. I just want you to understand that there is no correlation. So for those of you who might be a little bit younger and still in school and don't know what I mean by correlation, I just mean that it is not directly related. So the more expensive your date is, that doesn't mean that his care goes up at the same rate as the date goes up in expensiveness. Do you following me? And vice versa, the less expensive your date is, that doesn't mean that simultaneously the less he cares about you or is interested in you. Sandy, thank you for the rose. That's what I mean by correlation, because a correlation would mean they equally increase or equally decrease at the same rate, right? What I'm saying is that you can have things all over the place, but they're not necessarily related or correlated. Right? So you can have a guy who's super rich, has a lot of disposable income, right? Needy, thank you for the rose. You guys are gifting a lot today. I love that. You can have a guy who's super rich, who has a lot of disposable income, who spends a lot of money on you on the date. And then after a while, you realize that he only spent a lot of money on you on the date to impress you, to make you think that he cares about you a lot. And then he said, wow, this was such an amazing and expensive date. Why don't we go back to my place? I mean, I spent $300 on the date. So you kind of owe me that. Just come back to my house, enjoy some expensive wine because you're an expensive woman. You get all flabbergasted like, oh my God, you think I'm an expensive woman? You must care so much about me. You must think so highly of me. You spent $300 on the date. And then you go back to his place. You drink a couple glasses of expensive wine because you're an expensive woman. Now you're expensively drunk. And he's about to indulge in that expensive pussy. You see how fast and quickly that works? He spent a little extra bread. Now he's indulging in some expensive pussy. And you're proud. You're like, wow. You're sitting here. You're sitting here getting railed by a pencil for 2 minutes, staring at the ceiling, smiling like a clown, ear to ear, thinking he spent $300 on this date. Oh my God, I can't wait to tell my girlfriends that I went to Nobu. He spent $300 on the date. No. Apple Bottom said 7 minutes of regret. Not even 2 minutes. 2 minutes. You're getting railed by a pencil. You're actually getting stabbed. It's not even intercourse. You're staring at the ceiling with the clown smile like a Cheshire cat. I don't know if you guys know what that is. A clown smile, ear to ear. Ear to ear, your smile. Because he spent $300 on the date. And you're over here thinking that, like, yo, this is crazy. You found the man you're going to marry because he spent $300 on the date. And he got you some expensive wine to drink. Wow. Yeah, that's an expensive one-night stand. Congratulations. You just had an expensive one-night stand. Are you proud of yourself? Are you proud? I'm asking, are you proud? You just had an expensive one-night stand because you've convinced yourself that there's a correlation between a guy spending a lot on a date, spending a lot of money on a date, and him actually caring about the real you. Nita, thank you for the rose. And the reason I say it like that is not because I want to be mean, but I want to give you a wake-up call. I want to give you a wake-up call because, okay, I don't want to... See, this is what I don't like about these topics, because I'm a man, and I always tell you guys, I'm not here to impress onto you what I think you should do with your life. That's not what That's not what this is about. Sorry, I was just looking at something. But I would be doing you a disservice if I wasn't honest with you about the things that are going on. And excuse me, I should have burped into the mic. I want to share with you a concept that has only recently started existing in culture. And I've talked about it in my previous live. So those of you who are A+ students, Aaliyah, hi in the YouTube chat. Those of you who are A+ students will already know about this topic. Okay? That I'm going to discuss in this concept. But it's essentially this concept. Thank you for the rose, Busy. This concept is essentially the new way that guys play you by using your own logic that is being learned from women against you. It sounds crazy. It sounds insane. It sounds absolutely asinine. But it's real. Okay? It's very real. The whole idea of this, right? And when I start talking about it, you'll get a better understanding of what I mean. The whole idea of this is that in today's culture, and this is why what makes me start. You see me adjusting because I'm starting to get hot in here because this concept is a bit uncomfortable for me as a man to talk about. In today's culture, we have a lot of things prevalent as it relates to what we would describe as feminism. Stay with me, stay with me, stay with me, stay with me. I'm going somewhere. Feminism in itself is amazing. Equality for women is amazing. I'm all for that, and I believe that, and I think we all should have equality. There's nothing wrong with that idea. Now, something interesting has happened with feminism, stay with me, where it has become, I'll say it has strayed away from what it was originally intended to be. And I think that we can, tell me in the chat as women, if you think that feminism has strayed into an extreme place in some instances where it stopped really being what feminism was originally meant to be. Tell me in the chat if I'm off. Now I'm gonna describe to you some ideas and concepts for you to absorb, and maybe it will make more sense what I'm really referring to. So, for example, I see a lot of you guys saying yes in the chat. Okay, for example, when you search. When you're listening to music, tell me in the chat, and you're listening to, let's just call some of the top biggest artists. So like Meg Thee Stallion, you've got Cardi B, Nicki Minaj. Tell me in the music you're listening to, because this is music that plays on the radio. This is music that you play with your girlfriends. This is music that you hear everywhere you go, in the clubs, bars, everywhere you go, restaurants, everywhere you go. What are some of the main themes or topics that you hear in the music that you listen to from the most popular female artists? I'm just going to turn a light on. Tell me in the chat. Answer in the chat. Sorry. I just had to turn the light on. Tell me, what are some of the most prevalent topics that you hear females talk or women talk about as it relates to music? Okay? Nita says sexuality. Busy says pussy. Debo says empowerment. Okay. Someone says money. Right? Aggression. Pam says don't need a man. Right? Artist says I listen to metal rock. Okay, so maybe this more applies to people who listen to like pop, hip hop, and R&B, things like that. Because I don't know exactly what they're talking about in rock music. But even pop music, right? Even the things they're implying. Right? Being that girl, independence, right? Bossy, sexuality. Okay? Now, I think you guys all kind of hit it on the money. And I think one of the main themes that we can all agree on, Aaliyah says sex in the YouTube chat, by the way. Evie, thank you for the rose. Now, the main thing we can all agree on is there definitely is a lot of sexuality in woman music nowadays, which is fine. There's nothing particularly wrong in that. However, something interesting has happened when we have shifted from feminism being about equality and women getting treated right in the workplace and just in life in general, and being taken more seriously as a capable, strong, independent, intelligent member of society, and not just a housewife, which I agree with. But I think that music has turned the movement into something interesting, because now we have a lot of women preaching to women ideas like, thank you for the gift. We have a lot of women preaching to other women ideas like, fuck him, get a bag, right? Which essentially just means, if he's spending a lot of money for you, you can give away that pussy, but don't give away that pussy unless he's spending a lot of money on you, right? We have ideas like, the women should be able to fuck whoever they want, live however they want. Body count doesn't matter. Body count's irrelevant. If the guys can be hoes, then the girls can be hoes, and nobody should judge them. I'm not here to tell you whether that's right or wrong, okay? But what I am here to tell you is this is what women are preaching to you as a woman. And none of them are acknowledging the fact that we, meaning you as a woman, are trying to attract a heterosexual male. And so you're essentially acknowledging, well, maybe you're not acknowledging, but if you want to attract a heterosexual male, you're going to have to accept what a heterosexual male finds attractive or unattractive. This is where I say it gets uncomfortable for me, because I don't want it to be like I'm telling you how you should live your life, because I'm not. But I want you to understand that if you want to attract a heterosexual male, whether you like it or not, there's going to be some things you're going to have to do or not do, a particular way you're going to have to act or not act, because the heterosexual males find particular things attractive or unattractive. So what's my point? My point being, as it relates to like, okay, the women are telling you, okay, act like a man. You should go out, get 100 bodies, and it shouldn't matter because the men do it, so the women can do it too. Okay, in theory, that sounds good. In theory, that sounds amazing. But what happens when you actually want to be this man's wife? And then you tell him that you have 100 bodies, or he figures it out just because he knows so many people that you slept with. And then he says, yeah, actually, I'm good. Or you slept with like his best friend or something like that. And he's like, as much as I love you, I'm good. What happens then? Because these women spent all their time preaching to you how you should be able to fuck whoever you want, whenever you want, because you do like the men do. And so you've done like the men do, but the men aren't attracted to how the men do. Now you're confused because you're trying to attract men without acknowledging what men find attractive. Okay, we'll put that to the table for a second. When we talk about dates specifically, because I want to relate it back to dates, the idea that if a guy spends a lot of money on you, that makes it okay for you to give yourself away to him. How many of you have heard that in music? The idea, for those of you that listen to pop and hip hop and R&B, how many of you have heard in music from women that the only way you should give yourself away to a man is if he spends a lot of money on you, because that represents how valuable you are, right? Alan says all the time. Tell me in the chat, and I see some students in the back sleeping, because there's over 150 people in the chat, in the live, and not everyone's participating. When I ask a question, everyone needs to participate and give me an answer. I don't want no students in the back sleeping. I don't know if you're new here or what this is to you, but you don't get to just watch my live and not participate in the chat. Everyone participates in the chat. So when I ask a question, I want everyone's answer. Okay? Because this is not just me talking at you. We're having a conversation. That means you. I'm looking at you. Pick up your phone, type an answer. My question was, because you probably weren't paying attention, you're sleeping on your desk. My question was, how many of you have ever heard in music the idea or concept that if a man spends more money on you, that means you should then, that and only then is when you should give away yourself to him if he spends a lot of money on you. That was my question for those of you sleeping in the back. Those of you who answered my question the first time, I love you. Aaliyah said, I'm not sleeping, just being quiet and listening. No, you participate. Ain't no quiet and listening. Okay? Tato, thank you for the rose. I see regularly. I see never. Some people say never. Don't recall. Right? Someone says me. No, I didn't. Okay, this is very interesting, actually. Right? For those of you who have not, after this live is over, because I really like to talk to you guys about things that can stay with you. When I say stay with you, I mean like after you finish watching me and, you know, just enjoying my voice, for those of you who are half asleep, okay? I want you to actually go to like your favorite songs and look through some of your favorite songs and really read the lyrics in your favorite song. And I don't just mean read the lyrics. I mean like read behind the lyrics, like really understand what is being implied in the song. Because a lot of times in music, I mean, the best writers and the most popular songs are really hiding. I hate to sound like it's not really a conspiracy, but they're really hiding the message just through analogies and wordplay. Okay. And I'm not saying that all songs in the world are like this. Obviously, songs have a bunch of different genres and themes and things like that. But I just want you to understand like how it's presented to you in a way that just seeps into your subconscious, but you don't even realize it because you're not actually thinking about it readily or presently. Debo says, Olivia Rodrigo, Vampire. I know Olivia Rodrigo is a super popular artist, and I've never heard the song, but I can only imagine. Right? And the reason I say that, I want you to, after this, I want you to actually go to your lyrics and really read them for what they are, is because I want you to understand that, like, even if you're not necessarily actively listening to it and hearing it, it's still seeping into your subconscious in a way that you don't quite understand, right? Because the music is part of culture, and the culture is what you grow up to understand how society works. So the culture is not actually just about the music. The music is one part of it, but you also have the movies you watch, the TV shows you watch, which goes all in line with the social media that you see, right? The videos that you watch, the videos your friends tell you, what's popular, what's relevant. All of those things play a part in how you think you should be going about your life. Sandy, thank you for the rose. Because of what you're consuming. And I bring up music just because it's the easiest and most passive thing that we all consume on a regular basis, okay? Cleo says, I prefer to listen to classical music. Hey, that's probably a really good choice, okay? So my point being, as it relates to dates and the secret to amazing dating and things like that, thank you for the rose, by the way, unknown. I want you to understand that you're being preached through music, through culture, through movies, through TV shows, through social media, that your value, right, or a guy's interest level in you is based around how much money he will spend on you. Now, I know some of you guys brought up the term sprinkle per sprinkle. Thank you for the heart me, by the way. I know some of you guys brought up the term sprinkle, and I love sprinkle lady. I love Shira. I've never met her, but she's awesome. I love what she preaches, and I think she has a lot of truth to what she's saying because she understands how things work. And I mean, I'm a guy telling you that, like, she knows what she's talking about. She's not just spitballing. And there definitely is something to be said for getting a guy to be financially invested in you, right? Because it'll naturally make him take the relationship more serious, because coming out of money out of his pocket is going to take some work. However, this is why I say it's more of a correlation of how much disposable income he has, because the amount of money he spends on you will be more or less to you based on quote unquote being a regular person, except if he has a lot of disposable income relative to himself, it's not a lot of money, but relative to you, it's a lot of money. And so easily you can get confused into thinking that a guy who is quote unquote high value or has a lot of money, has a lot of disposable income, cares about you a lot because he spends a lot of money that you think is a lot of money, because relative to you, it's a lot of money. But to him, relatively, it is not a lot of money. Some of you guys are like, what? I don't understand. What do you mean? For example, if I make $1 million a year, okay, that is, what is $1 million a year broken down in months? We're going to do some quick maths here, okay? I don't want to scare you off, okay? We're going to do some quick math. So $1 million a month, for you probably can't see this, but $1 million a month, $1 million in a year is $83,000 a month. Okay? Thank you for the rose, Jane. It's very simple math. I don't want to scare you away. $1 million a year is $83,000 a month. Now you might sit here and be saying, what does $83,000 a month have to do with me? Well, it has a lot to do with you, because if you date someone who is making $1 million a year, $83,000 a month, you can imagine by the time they pay for their car, they pay for their house, they pay for their other finances and expenses, they have quite a lot of money left over each month to spend on whatever it is they want. Not to mention, if they're making $1 million a year, they probably have some sort of business that is generating them constant cash flow even in their sleep. So what's my point? How does this relate to dating? On a smaller scale, but still a scale, right? There are other men who, for whatever reason, maybe they don't have any children, they don't have anything, any high expenses, they don't, spend too crazy or anything like that. They have a lot of disposable income, right? And so they can go on dates with women, spend a lot of money on them, and I don't even, excuse me, that was a big burp. Should have put that right into the mic. Some of these men have a lot of disposable income, so they know they can spend more money on a woman, but not necessarily more money than they have. They can just spend a lot of money because they have a lot of disposable income. And they also know that relative to you and what you're used to from other guys, it will seem more impressive. And so you'll perceive that as, oh, he cares more. And because you perceive it as he cares more, he realizes that he doesn't have to do as much. And this is where I say the whole trick comes in with dating, is because we're focusing on the wrong aspect, right? A lot of us are focusing on how much money is he spending on the date, when, as I just mentioned before, the date is just a setting for the conversation. Right? You go on a date at you're really supposed to be going on a date at a restaurant simply because you want a calm place in public where, in the scenario that he's a weirdo or very creepy or just has some really weird vibes, you can easily leave and walk away without him knowing where you live, without him following you home, without ever having to see or speak to him again. It's really just kind of more of a safety thing because you're meeting a stranger, right? But the setting is really just for a conversation. And that's what I want to get you to understand. Right? And someone says it's also about how he treats you, right? It is. But I want you to understand, there is a lot of fluff that goes into dates that we think is important, or we think makes the date better, or we think makes the connection stronger, but it actually doesn't. The amount of money he spends on you on a date, taking you to Nobu or taking you to McDonald's. I'm not saying you should go to McDonald's for a date. I'm just saying, doesn't necessarily mean he cares about you more or less, because some guys have no boo money. Now, I'm not saying go for broke guys, and I'm not saying necessarily go for rich guys or that regular guys are bad. Some guys do have no boo money, but that doesn't mean he likes you more because he has no boo money. Are you grasping what I'm saying right now? What I'm trying to get at is, I want you, tell me in the chat if you're following me, right? What I'm trying to get at is, I want you to be focused on the right things. And I don't want you to get distracted by things that don't actually matter, because that will get you tricked into putting yourself in a position where, instead of you getting played by a broke guy, you got played by a rich guy and got taken on a $300 date. I mean, yeah, cool, you got a $300 date out of it, but at the end of the day, your pussy has still been used and discarded of. I mean, is that what you want? Because I see a couple people, not a couple people, I actually see, because I read all my messages on TikTok, guys. So, because I post a lot on TikTok, obviously. I read all my messages, and I see a lot of you saying, oh, well, if he's paying for everything, then who cares? He can play me. If he's paying for everything, then who cares? Let's have friends with benefits. If he's paying for everything, then blah, 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 blah. Where did this come from? I don't think that I don't think that that's a healthy way to go about life. That in exchange for my body, my soul, my spirit, you give me money, I'll deal with anything. We're not even talking about give me money in the sense of like, oh, I'm your wife and I have security with you. We built a home together. We built a life together. I'm just talking about a guy spending a lot of money on you, buying you things, and you're exchanging your soul and your spirit and your mind and your body for money. Lee said it's degrading. And the reason I'm saying that, right, it is degrading because we don't all think of it as like, oh, I'm exchanging my mind, soul, and body. It's not. I know the first thing a lot of people want to say in a situation like that is, oh, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. How many of you know people that everything in life, it's not that deep? Oh, it's not that deep. Nothing's that deep. I promise you it's that deep. If you come to me and you listen to me expecting for me to tell you that it's not that deep, you're sadly mistaken, because life is deep. It really is that deep. I'm like the opposite of all your it's not that deep friends. I'm the it's that deep. Actually, it's very deep. Actually, you're fucking up your entire life. Like, I'm that guy. Right? Because I want you to understand, like, this stuff isn't for play. And if you take it for play or you don't take it seriously, you'll find out quick. When you sitting on that therapist couch at 35 years old, no shame to anyone who's over 35, but when you sitting on that therapist couch at 35 years old and you're telling your therapist about all the guys who fucked you and why did I say it like that? Who inserted themselves inside you and discarded of you, and you're crying about it. Oh, I promise you, it'll be deep. It'll be very deep. It won't feel like it's not that deep. Okay? And I'm not saying that to traumatize you. I'm just saying that to help you understand, while you're still young, be thinking about what you want for your future and be thinking about how the decisions you make affect your future. And this is something that I've realized that's very interesting about human beings, but also just relationships. I've realized that, and tell me if I'm wrong, this is why I say it's a conversation. I don't want it to just seem like I'm making assumptions about you as a woman or how you feel or how you operate, and I don't really understand you at all. I want to feel like we're at an understanding. From what I've learned about women and having conversations with them, there is a very interesting transition of needs in a partner. And for the most part, thank you for the ski goggles, Shelly. For the most part, what I found interesting about the transition of needs in correlation to age. Someone just said, I dreamed of you. That's awesome. What did you dream about? Hopefully it wasn't a nightmare. But in the transition, right, what I've seen happen a lot is at the beginning, when girls are like the youngest, hottest thing around, they just want a young guy. Sorry, not a young guy. They just want an attractive guy who is hot, has a huge dick that can just rail them all the time, all day. And that's all they care about. A hot guy who can pleasure them. That's all they care about. Wherever they can find that, that's where they're going. Right. And they're not thinking about like, oh, what are the consequences of this? They're not thinking about, do we have a connection? Do we have a bond? They just think, do I feel stuffed and satisfied or no? That's all they're thinking about. Okay. Someone said my full name. You guys are funny. I don't know. You guys be researching me. So, and some people, sorry, and that's what happens at the beginning, right? When you're young. And this is why I say, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, because I don't want to make it seem like I'm just making an assumption and then you as women are like, what the fuck? That doesn't happen to us. But at the beginning, right, you're worried about the hot guys who can rail you, give you some real good dick, make you feel good. And as you begin to get older and transition into your more mature years, so let's call that your early 20s, your 19, 20, 21, 22 years, right? And as you transition into 29, especially when you hit that 3-0 and get past that 3-0, what you need from a partner completely changes, right? Because at the beginning, you're actually willing to deal with a guy who's broke, who has nothing going for himself, who can't provide you any sort of security or safety in exchange for him just having good dick and being really hot. And then as you grow as a woman, right, and you mature, your needs actually reverse, right? So you're actually willing to sacrifice a guy who is attractive, and you're willing to substitute having a guy who's unattractive and having a guy who doesn't have good dick, who can't satisfy you, for the security of being with the guy who's like financially stable, who can provide and who can protect. So all of those type of things. And then for that, you're willing to trade in a guy who has good dick, who's hot, attractive, all that stuff, right? And when you're young, it's in reverse. You want the hot, attractive guy who can fuck you good, but you're willing to trade in those qualities for also having a guy who doesn't have money, doesn't have his life together, doesn't have direction, all of that stuff, doesn't have a good connection with you, all that stuff. Right? And here's the thing. The reason I bring up, a lot of you guys are saying, yeah, hell yeah. Okay. So I'm glad I'm on the right track. Glad we're on the same page. The reason I bring up that concept and that idea of the transition is because when you're young, and I know a lot of you guys in the chat are young, some of you guys are older, so some of you guys might already be like, I already knew this. Come on, I've been through this. But for some of you guys that are younger, it's a lot harder to see that version of yourself who's older, who's looking for a connection, who's looking for stability, who's looking for safety, who's looking for all of that good stuff. Because you're like, yo, I'm young, I'm hot, everyone wants me, everyone wants to enter this pussy, I don't give a fuck about nothing, I just want to go on a boat and a yacht and shake my fucking ass. If he wants to pay for everything, then who gives a fuck? I'm gonna shake my ass, he's gonna spend this cash. I'm gonna shake my ass. Ooh, and he's gonna spend this cash. Who gives a fuck about nothing? It's not that deep. I'm gonna shake my ass and he's gonna spend this cash. Right? Because you're young. So nothing's that deep. Right? And as you get older, you become traumatized by the decisions you made when you were young and everything wasn't that deep. Okay? And the reason I bring that up is if you find yourself in a position where you're thinking, Like, who really wants to put in all this work into relationships? Like, finding a partner shouldn't be that hard. I don't want to do all this extra stuff, and why should I care if he takes me on if he takes me on an expensive date? He wants to pay for anything. Sure, whatever. I'll fuck him the first night. I mean, he spent a lot of money. He's spending a lot of money, so who cares if he's toxic? He's spending a lot of money. He pays for everything. Who cares if he treats me like shit? He pays for everything. It's good now. Works now when you're young. As you get older, you realize that even if he spends money on you, that doesn't mean he's going to make you his wife. And you also realize that he's not going to spend money on you forever. Right? He's going to spend money on his wife forever. Just because he buys you a couple nice gifts, he takes you to some fancy dinners, that doesn't mean he's going to make you his wife. What connection are you building with the man? What level of consistency has he shown you in the relationship, emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, that would actually convince you that this man is taking you serious and taking the relationship serious? The reason I'm saying all of that is because like I said, when it comes to dates, I want us all to be focused on the right thing as opposed to being focused on the wrong thing. Because it's very easy in today's culture and society to be focused on the wrong thing. Right? To be focused on the amount of money he's spending on the date, to be focused on the cost of the gift, to be focused on all these other things and this is the craziest part. And this is what I wanted to mention when it comes to music, when it comes to culture and all that stuff, is that you're watching it, but you know who's also watching it? The men that are trying to get inside your pussy. I'm going to say that one more time. You're watching it and consuming it. You know who's also watching it and consuming it? The fucking hyena men who want nothing more than to get inside your squirtle. And you know what happens, right? In the process of him consuming that as well. He realizes, oh my fucking God, I used to spend so much time and energy trying to convince girls that I wanted to be in a relationship with them. I had to sell them a dream. I had to be nice to them, be so kind to them. I had to tell them that they're amazing and they're awesome and do all this extra work to just smash. He watches Meg Thee Stallion and Nicki Minaj. He sees you in the club. You're shaking your ass to it. It's Nicki Minaj and Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion. And he's like, oh my fucking God. Oh my God. I don't even have to sell her a dream. I just pretend like I support women empowerment and her ability to fuck whoever she wants to fuck whenever she wants to fuck them. And then I sit back, relax, and allow her to fuck me in one night or 2 nights or after the first couple of days of me knowing her, without putting in any effort, and I convince her that it's a good thing because she's empowering herself to do it, because that's what feminism is. Oh, you ain't know that's how the new era of players are playing you? You ain't know? You ain't know? You ain't know? That's how they're getting you nowadays? You ain't know? They sit back and they tell you, yo, you know, it's dope that the women get to fuck whoever they want nowadays. It's dope that you can just be friends with benefits with a man without ever being attached. It's dope that you just spread your legs for any man you're interested in simply because you find him attractive and hot. I think that's dope as fuck. Can I get in that pussy too? I think that's dope as fuck. Matter of fact, you should be doing that more, because that's real feminism. When you just do whatever you want, act however you want. You don't care about what anyone else can I get in that pussy too? You don't care about what anyone else thinks. You different. Someone said in the chat, you different. You just like, you don't even get attached. That's what you like the female version of me. I'm a hoe, you're a hoe too. Like the female version of me, you know, I fuck, you fuck, can we fuck? All that. You're an amazing person. That's what I love about you. Right? You get gassed up because you're sitting here thinking, oh, he thinks I'm cool. He thinks I'm like one of the bros. He's really vibing with me. He thinks I'm different because I have the ability to be friends with benefits and not get attached. I have the ability to be intimate without actually feeling and bothering him all day. Excuse me. And being annoying like all the other girls. I'm like a bro with a pussy. And he likes that. That's what he wants. He wants to marry me. He wants to wife me because I'm the female version of him and he's a hoe. I'm like a hoe too, but he likes my vibe as a hoe. No, he doesn't. I'm here to tell you, he just wants to fuck. That's all. He just wants to fuck. He doesn't want to do anything else. He doesn't think you're amazing. He doesn't think you're that different except for the fact you'll give away that pussy for absolutely nothing. The reason I'm telling you this is because when it comes to dating, this is the new way that the guys are realizing they can play the game on you. They can just hide behind feminism and pretend like you're empowering yourself by fucking him without him having to commit to you. And that somehow is empowerment for you can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. And you might be laughing, but if you really think about it, I'm sure a lot of us, I say a lot of us because we're all part of one, I've probably been tricked by something like this before. It's because it's so slick and it's so new that people don't even realize when it's happening. He's trying to empower you. He's empowering you to fuck him because feminism. And then you think that he's going to make you his wife after that. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Like, I can't believe how stupid it is. Because, like, you have to understand what guys are attracted to. When I say what guys are attracted to, what guys want to, the type of woman a guy wants to make their wife has never changed. It will never change. Don't get it misconstrued, misunderstood. I'm talking about heterosexual straight men, okay? It has never changed. They will never want a promiscuous girl who sleeps with everyone. I'm sorry to tell you. Okay, I don't know. They might try to cancel me if I say that. They might try to say that I'm a misogynist. They might try to say that I'm mean, I'm rude, and all this stuff. I know that you're here because you're more than likely, or you're just entertained by me, but you're more than likely a straight heterosexual woman. Those mean the same thing, so I'm just reiterating it for no reason. You're a straight heterosexual woman who is attracted to straight heterosexual men. I'm a straight heterosexual man. I can give you the perspective of a straight heterosexual man who you are attracted to. That's why we're here. That's why we're having this conversation. However, I want you to understand, Jane, thank you for the rose. I want you to understand that what straight heterosexual men find desirable in a wife and want in a wife has never changed. Danny, thank you for the rose. It has never changed. And this is why, like, it's painful for me to say this, but it's almost comical because these are the type of things guys are using to trick you. It's like reverse psychology. Danny, thank you for more roses. It really is like reverse psychology. And I want you to understand what's really going on, because at the end of the day, no matter how much he tells you he's empowering you by saying that you should be able to act like a man and be friends with benefits without being attached, and that's a good thing and all that good stuff. I guarantee you he's going to turn around and go wife the girl who doesn't have a high body count. That's not to say, oh my God, I don't want to get too deep in the body count thing, but I just want to tell you that, like, he's going to fuck you on the first night, turn around, tell you how amazing it is that you would do that, and then turn around and go wife another girl who wouldn't fuck him on the first night. And, like, you're getting played because of it. Because you're thinking, oh, he's saying that because that's what he actually wants. He thinks it's good that I'm like one of the bros. He thinks it's good that I don't get attached. He thinks it's good that I act like the guys. No, he doesn't. He thinks it's good because it makes it easy for him to fuck. It makes it easy for him to get access to you. And he has to do even less work. Z, thank you for the pumpkin spice latte. And he has to do even less work. That's what he likes. But he doesn't like you enough, or in the sense to make you his wife. He doesn't want those qualities in his wife. You're like the fun girl. How many of you know what it means to be the fun girl? Tell me in the chat. I want to see if you guys are still awake here, or if you guys just sleeping, drowning away to my voice. What does it mean to be a fun girl? Tell me in the chat right now. What does that mean to be a fun girl? Everyone answers in the chat. There's over 200 people in the live. Every single person better give me an answer. You better not be sleeping in my damn class. What does it mean to be the fun girl? Someone says easygoing, good time only, no strings attached, who drinks a lot, easy access, girly, not demanding. Means you're loose, Scotty says. Call you after 12 a.m. I like that one, Lord Farquaad. Shout out to Shrek. Laid back, easy going. Anything goes, girl. Lee, I love that answer. Okay. I want to stop on Lee's answer for a second. And anything goes, girl. The fun girl. Right? Because the fun girl usually doesn't have boundaries. The fun girl goes out. She does what she wants, when she wants, how she wants. She doesn't think about the consequences of what she's doing or how it will affect her future. She just thinks only about having fun. So it's fun to be around because you don't actually have to discipline yourself being around the fun girl. You don't have to think about your future. You don't have to plan for anything or schedule anything in a way that requires any sort of discipline or self-control. All you have to do is worry about the current moment and how you feel right now and doing what you want right now. And the great part, someone says, why can't you be both? I'll tell you why you can't be both. Because the fun girl, right, is only a break from your real girl. And I'm telling you this as a man. I'm telling you this as a man, as like a straight heterosexual man. I'm only trying to give you the real. You cannot be both because the fun girl is a break from your real girl. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, because if you thought that being the fun girl was going to get you somewhere, it won't. For the most part, the men don't marry the fun girl. If they do, they usually regret it after a while, because you can't unfun girl a fun girl. I don't even like using the term hoes, because I know some of you guys are thinking, oh, a hoe is the fun girl. Not necessarily. Fun girl is not even just your body count. Fun girl is an attitude. Fun girl is a way of life. You understand what I'm saying? It's even more than just, oh, I fuck whoever, whenever. It's a way of life. You don't have boundaries for yourself or other people that are in your life. You don't think about anything except the moment. You don't have any restraint in life except enjoying yourself to the maximum right now. And it's great for right now, but the problem is in the future, you regret a lot of the decisions you made for right now. Have you ever noticed, and this is kind of for everyone, not just, as a woman, but have you ever noticed that whenever you're making decisions that satisfy you the most in the moment, they usually serve you the least in the future? I'm going to ask that question one more time because I really want you guys to grasp it. Have you ever noticed that when you make decisions that satisfy you the most in the moment, they usually end up being the worst decisions for you in the future? I want to get answers in the chat because I want to make sure you guys are still paying attention. A lot of you guys saying yes. Sky says yes. Natalie says yes. Crystal says yes, no doubt. Kalira says delayed gratification experiments. Absolutely. I see a lot of yeses. Good. I like that everyone's participating. Now, the reason I say that, and the reason I think that's related to relationships, is because you'll know you're becoming the fun girl when you start making a lot of decisions based on how you feel in the moment. You'll know you're becoming the fun girl when you stop analyzing or thinking about how the decisions you make right now affect you in 5 years, in 10 years. Right? And when you start becoming the fun girl, you'll stop being able to visualize how things can quickly escalate from being a very small situation. I'll give you an example, okay? Let's say, and this is probably going to hit home for some of you guys because I'll explain it and you'll see why. Let's say you're hanging out at a party. You're hanging out at this party. You got some people that you've never met at this party, obviously. And there's this one guy in the room, he's kind of cool. He's kind of cute. And he starts coming up to you and starts having a conversation with you. So you're talking to him, you're having a chat with him and things like that. And he's like, oh, I love to smoke, da, da, da. And you're like, oh, I really like smoking too. I love getting high, da, da, da. We'll get into that later. And he's like, yeah, I love smoking. It makes me feel relaxed and chill. And you're like, no, I love smoking too. And he says to you, I really wish I could have smoked before this party because, I'm not really feeling at my best. Like I'm feeling a little bit nervous and, smoking calms my nerves, kind of like you said. But I didn't get a chance to smoke before this party. I was like rushing out the door and then, I just didn't get a chance to. And you're like, damn, yeah, I wish I could smoke too. I didn't get a chance to today. I definitely wish I could. And then he goes, well, why don't we smoke together? I do have some weed, but it's in my car. And you go, oh, the weed's in your car? Yeah, I got the grinder, I got everything, I got the joint, I just got to roll it up. So if you come to the car, I can roll up the joint. We can smoke for a bit, and then we can go back to the party. So you sit there and you say to yourself, oh, where's your car? Excuse me. Oh, my car's just parked in the parking lot literally across the street from the party. We'll just cross the street and it's right there. So you go, okay, I guess I'll just tell my friends, like, we just going to go smoke real quick and I'll be right back, right? Yeah. It's going to take me like 5 minutes to roll up. I roll such good joints. And trust me, that's that good weed. We smoking that good stuff. So you go and you walk to the car and the car's across the street. You had a good conversation with the guy. He doesn't seem, irregular or abnormal or anything like that. You get into the car. He starts rolling up the joint. So you're like, yeah, he's rolling up that joint. That's a good ass joint he's rolling, right? Good. So he rolls up the joint. He's like, want to take a hit of this? It's that good shit. I want you to get the first one. So you go, you hit that weed. You're like, damn, this is some good weed. This is some really good weed. high's a little bit different though. He goes, yeah, I just, I get my shit, I get it from this guy. He grows it, and he grows it perfect. Like, I get it directly from the guy who grows it. So you're in the car and you're smoking the weed and you're like, damn, I'm high as fuck. And you're sitting there, you're like, yo, I'm chilling, like, I'm vibing. And he's like, you know what? I'm vibing too. Like, this shit just got me feeling good. I don't know if I want to just go and motherfucking go back into a loud ass party and just, I'm trying to chill. Like, don't you just want to vibe too? Like, why would we go back into the party? I'm going somewhere, don't worry. And you go, yeah, we could just chill. Like, I'm not even trying to go back into the party for real. I'd rather just vibe in a car. And then he goes, you know what? Yo, I got this at my house. I got this amazing lights that whenever I get high, I just turn on these lights, and the way they just hit you, the vibe is just crazy. Like, we could really relax, because sitting in the car mad uncomfortable. Like, let's actually go chill. My house is literally 5 minutes from here. And then because you're high, right? You're already in a relaxed state. You go, oh, your house right there. We having such a good conversation. Sure, let's go to the house. So he driving to the house, right? And everything cool. You in your zone. You vibing, just you just having a good time. Like, the music's hitting you in a different way. Like, everything's just good. And you get to his house. And you sit on the couch. And all of a sudden, he starts feeling you up. You're like, yo, this vibe. He's like, yo, this vibe crazy. Like, while he's talking to you, he's like, yo, this vibe crazy. Like, I just think you like a different type of girl. Like, I could really get down with you. Like, I could really vibe with you. And you're like, yeah, no, I fuck with you too. And then slowly but surely, as he's talking to you, he starts feeling you up a little bit more. And then you're like, whoa, what you trying to do? He's like, yo, chill. Like, why you wilding? Just vibe out. Just chill with me type shit. You're like, I know I'm chilling, but you don't gotta be touching me all like that. And then he's like, yo, girl, why you trying to be like this, yo? Just come here, just come a little closer to me type shit. And he start grabbing on you. You like, yo, chill out. Like, why you almost you getting agitated now. You like, whoa, why you chill? Like, I'm not here to, you said we was gonna come relax and shit. Like, why you trying to be touching on me and all this shit? And then he's like, yo, what you think this shit is? And you just see his eyes. And his eyes are black. The whole pupil, everything is black. It looks like he's not even there. He just goes, the fuck you think this is? You think you finna come over to my motherfucking house? And just chill? Bitch, the fuck? You ain't finna come over here and just chill. Bro, I ain't come around here to play around this motherfucking 2 a.m., bitch. You think I drove you all the way here to motherfucking play around? It's 2 a.m. I ain't playing with you. The fuck you think this is? And you sitting there like, what is happening? You're not even saying anything. He's like, bitch, it's motherfucking 2 a.m. I drove you all the way to my house. You smoking my motherfucking good ass weed. And you think this shit a game? Fuck no. This shit ain't no game, bitch. And then he proceeds to do some shit that you don't find, that you don't agree with. We'll just say that. And you're so shocked and so stunned and so flabbergasted that you don't know any other way to get out of the situation but to do exactly what he says you should do. Because now you in a situation where you in someone's house and your friends don't know where you are and nobody has access to you. except for this random guy you just met at a party who you come to realize after the party didn't even know the host of the party. He was a friend of a friend of a friend. Okay? Now, some of you were probably like, why would you go through this whole entire story? What is the point of that? What does that have to do with my dates? What does that have to do with my relationships? What does that have to do with anything? Because I want you to understand where being the fun girl gets you. Because the fun girl is never thinking about the future past the decision she has to make right now. Fun girl or guy, right? The fun girl is only thinking about her pleasure or satisfaction as it relates to this current moment. In theory, it sounds great. I'm living in the moment. I'm not worried about anything. But in that example that I gave, and there was a reason I seen some of you guys, why are you going in such detail in the story? Because I want you to see how easy it is for things to escalate in a way that's not, I don't think that story is a super over exaggeration of things that can happen in real life. And I seen some of you guys saying in the chat, this exact thing has happened to me. Because I want you to understand how making decisions solely about how you feel in the current moment and being the fun girl becomes traumatizing very quickly. Now, I'm not saying that to say in that story it's your fault for being at his house and it's your fault for him doing that to you or whatever, putting you in that position. But what I am saying is that the fun girl is always agreeing to things because it makes her feel good in the moment. And it's not until the fun girl experiences some things that are not so fun does she realize that saying yes to one thing means you'll say yes to more things. And the more things you say yes to, the easier it will be for you to find yourself in a very uncomfortable situation. Being the fun girl is not all it's crept up to be, right? They want to tell you that the fun girls are living their best life. The fun girls are trying to convince you that being a fun girl is so awesome and amazing and you're missing out. But in reality, the fun girls have all of the drama and all of the trauma, more than you can even imagine. Right? And the saddest part about being the fun girl is after they experience all that trauma, is that the men turn around and go, damn, that's a traumatic situation, but I'm not really trying to wife a fun girl, so I'm going to go over here and wife the girls who were actually thinking about their futures from the start. I'm going to go talk to the other girls who haven't been fun girls for their entire lives or for a majority of their life. Cherry says they like to use fun girls. Exactly. And that's why I bring up that whole and told you that whole long story, detailed story, right? I just made that up. But it's a story that's very real in the sense that like that can be anyone and that can happen to anyone. And it doesn't, and the thing about it is that's so hard to see is that the situation didn't start when you were on his couch and he was yelling. The situation started when you said yes to the first thing. When you said yes to going into a stranger's car that you've never met and your friends don't know, to smoke weed that you can't verify the source of, to put someone else in control of you and your destination that you don't know anything about and could be anyone and could have any sort of motive. But the fun girl is only thinking about fun. The fun girl is only thinking about making decisions that make her happy in the moment. The fun girl is not thinking about how she might feel if she makes a decision that leads her to make another decision, that leads her to make another decision, that puts her in a position where she's very uncomfortable. because that's hard to do. That takes discipline. That takes a whole lot of calculation and analyzing, and it's not that deep. Right? It's not that deep. Who cares? Let's all live in the moment. Let's all do what we want. Let's have fun. I guarantee you it's deep after you experience a traumatic situation like that. And you're looking back and thinking, how did I get myself into this? It becomes deep then. And I'm not saying that to traumatize you or to trigger you, but I want you to understand how this thing goes. And I want you to understand you can either choose to live your life with some discipline when it comes to who you allow around you, inside you, to spend time with you, who you give your energy to, or you can live the rest of your future life in regret, because the concept still exists. So I say all that to go back to the point of talking about exchanging your body, your soul, your spirit in exchange for money, or someone who's going to spend a lot of money on you. Well, in the future you is going to look back on present you for making those decisions, and future you is going to be very disappointed. And future you is going to live with a lot of regret for making that decision, rather than being in a relationship that is about the connection, rather than being in a relationship where you actually sat down and talked to a man, had a conversation with a man, had an understanding of who he is, asked him the right question, verified that he is who he says he is, he's about what he says he's about, and you made him wait and made yourself wait, because obviously as a woman you want pleasure as well, but you made yourself wait as well until you can verify that he is that guy. Then when you finally give your power away to him, you realize that you gave your power away to the right man.